Hey everybody, welcome to week 7 comments here. I want to comment about the DQ1, the case study that we've completed now because this is now Thursday morning. And I wanted to say that many of you did really well. And the reason that you did really well is that you responded to all of the questions thoroughly and you included citations to back you up. Some of you who had lower scores either did not answer all the questions fully, and that's one of the things I've been stressing, or in some cases failed to cite your replies. Now, here's why the in-text citations and a reference list are important, folks, and that is plagiarism. If you take the words of anyone that you read, whether it be in a textbook or another source or a journal article, and basically lay those words out and not include citations, you are claiming those words as your own, and those are plagiarizing actions. You're plagiarizing. You're saying, okay, it says this in the book, or maybe I read this somewhere else. I'll just write that out, but I'm not going to put any in-text citations or a reference list. I'm not going to allow my reader to know that those words belong to somebody else. They're going to appear to be mine, and that's plagiarizing. And in some cases can lead to a really low score, and in some cases at the university can lead to disciplinary action, and in some cases dismissal from the university altogether. So if you have a really low score, it may be because you just had reasonably good comments, but not too much in terms of citing and formatting your responses in APA format. And if you look at the directions for the DQ, I did say you must include in-text citations. And if you're still not sure on how to do in-text citations and create a reference list, I think on 2 occasions now I posted a little PowerPoint slideshow that I put together called How to Cite and Reference. So really, really important stuff. So that could be the reason for a low score. If a score is in the 15, 16, 17 range, it means you really did a pretty good job. And the only thing I would say is there might have been a little more to say, and that was addressed in my additional question to you. So you can certainly make up some points if you want to by responding to my extra credit question for you. Regarding this case, of course, is near the end of the book. So by its very nature, it's going to be a pretty challenging case. You saw there was lots and lots of history. So why did Cummings and Worley give you all of that history about what Thiry did with his organization and the Gambro merger coming up, the Gambro acquisition coming up? It wasn't a merger, it was an acquisition. And why was all that information presented to you? Well, mainly because the Cummings and Worley are trying to fully describe what Thiry did and what the culture is like, because we've got a culture change activity going on here if they're going to acquire yet another organization, a pretty big organization like Gambro, and try to build them into their culture. If you responded by way of the text material related to mergers and acquisitions and the organization development steps related to OD or related to M&A, mergers and acquisitions, then you were right on track and probably scored pretty high. If you offered some interventions that were really not what we would call large-scale merger and acquisition oriented interventions, you certainly scored some points, but probably not as high. The Cummings and Worley's text has a lot to say, and I pointed it out in some of my remarks, including a table of activities for OD practitioners during an M&A or merger and acquisition setting. One of the things that's important to remember, and I think almost everybody did, is that we're not there to tell them what to do. We're there to facilitate those steps, many of the steps outlined in the text. So if you were online with the text as far as mergers, acquisitions, many of you said transorganizational change for question number 1. Yeah, absolutely, that's what Thiry had been doing, and he certainly did a really good job of it, building the culture that he wanted. However, with the acquisition of Gambro, and that first 100 days question is an excellent question. How is he going to integrate two really diverse, Gambro's highly bureaucratic, how is he going to integrate two really diverse cultures? If you know much about mergers and acquisitions out there, you know most of them fail. Now there's a percentage that I'm not going to reveal now because I've asked of it from a few people on an extra credit question. But most acquisitions and mergers don't turn out very well, and the reason has to do with culture, and that's as much as I'll say. So an OD practitioner can certainly add a lot in the arena of mergers and acquisitions. Okay, well, that's it. Those are my comments. I think this is our last case study for the course. Again, I posted your grades for the case study alone in your week 7 assignments folder or screen or whatever you see. I'm not sure what you see. And I will change that, of course, after the end of the week and upgrade it to your weekly points. So have a look. And as always, if you have questions or you want to continue the conversation started by your discussion question response, you can certainly email me, and I'd be happy to chat more about acquisitions and mergers and OD and so on. And if not, then well done for everybody, and almost everybody. And it's a learning experience. I hope the week served you well, and I will see you in the threads. Take care.